Hey guys, so I just wanted to narrate over this video. It's just a video of me doing some low intensity cardio, and the reason for that is I do 2 high intensity sessions after my shoulder day and after my back and tricep day. So in the mornings I'll do low intensity cardio until I burn 100 calories just before I eat breakfast. Kind of a joint video today. I'm going to be going through my vlog for the week and the differences and the benefits and negatives between low intensity and high intensity training. So the vlog's going to come first. If that's the only reason you're watching this, then I'll tell you where that ends. But it's something I changed this week. I'm doing it every morning. It's just to burn a few extra calories. If you times 100 by 7 you get 700, and that's how many extra calories I'll be burning this week. So I had a carb up day for the first time. I might have 2 next week depending on how the weight loss is, but I lost 0.8 kilos, which is 1.76 pounds, and I currently weigh 70 kilos, which is 154 pounds. Good things from last week are I noticed a good change in vascularity, which is great. It's a sign that I'm dropping body fat. Training last week was good. Everything that needed to go up went up, so I'm really happy with that. Got a new product which I might do a review about, proper review about, is my protein, and it's called Pulse, and it's supposed to be a pre-workout, kind of like NO Explode, Jacked 3D, those kind of things. It was a little bit disappointing so far. It doesn't give you a pump at all. It didn't have a high enough caffeine content for me, so it doesn't really wake me up. But it's good, I thought, for it improved my vascularity, which means it did improve blood flow slightly, and it was just something to push nutrients around a little bit. Kind of a psychological thing as well, the placebo effect and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I've changed and what's been happening this week. The rest of this video is just going to be about the difference between low intensity and high intensity cardio. So I'm going to start with where did the myth that low intensity steady state cardio come from, that it's going to retain more muscle than high intensity training. Well, it has to do with the energy systems, and I'm not going to go too in depth because this video is going to be quite long anyway. But you've got 3 energy systems. You've got your ATP PC system, your anaerobic lactate system, and your aerobic system. And what it basically is low intensity steady state cardio is supposed to work in your aerobic system, which uses fat as its primary source of creating ATP, or replenishing ADP and synthesizing it into ATP. And that's the main reason that most people say that it's more beneficial than high intensity training, because high intensity training's using a lot more sugars, which means your body needs to get that from somewhere, being your muscles, and that's supposed to break down more muscle. The problem you have is it doesn't give you a great afterburn effect. So with high intensity training you can burn, there's no studies that have proven this, but bodybuilders will all attest to this, that you burn a lot more calories for a long time after your session with high intensity training. There's a low total calories burn with the low intensity. If you think I've done 17 minutes, I might show the whole lot if the video gets that long. 17 minutes of low intensity cardio burn 100 calories. In the gym, when I'm doing high intensity cardio, I tend to burn around 350 in 20 minutes. So you can see there's a massive difference there. And the reason for that is there's very little stress on the muscles. So if you think you go in and lift a weight that you can lift 20-30 reps, you're not really going to feel it that much. You get a little bit fatigued, a little bit tired, but soon after you'll feel pretty good. You go in and lift a heavy weight and you're going to feel very tired afterwards, and you're going to feel like you've done some work. So the benefits of low intensity cardio, which is why I've added it in, it's not very mentally demanding. So I can wake up in the morning and just go, oh, I'm going to walk on the treadmill for 15-20 minutes. It's low impact on the joints. So I find with running and the cross trainer, even sometimes the bike, it aggravates my knees a little bit, and that's obviously something we don't want when we're cutting, because our joints are under a lot of extra pressure anyway because of the reduced fat, reduced lubrication within the joints. So it's also using the aerobic system, like I said before, and that doesn't really hold up, and I'll explain why when we go into the benefits of high intensity cardio. But those are the benefits and negatives of the low intensity stuff, and the reason I add it in is because I still do 2 days high intensity, and I just added low intensity to get some extra calories burnt that's not going to be too difficult for me. So the benefits of high intensity interval training. And high intensity interval training, for those of you that don't know, is it's a very, very difficult way to train. You have a period of very high intensity or very hard work. So using the treadmill as an example, you would sprint for 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds, and then you'd have a minute rest. So quite a short rest period, 60 seconds. If you think of that in terms of weightlifting, that's a short rest, and then you do it again. And the maximum you probably want to do is about 10 minutes. If you could do it any longer, it's too easy for you. And the reason this is so good is because it has a large stress on the muscles. And what that does, like with weightlifting, your body then has to recover from that for hours, even days after, and that's where we get the afterburn effect. So that's where we're burning a lot more calories than rest. It gives us a higher METs to work with as well, which if you've looked at my METs and BMR article, that'll be all explained in there. And you burn a higher total calories. So with that, like I said, I burn 350 in 20 minutes at the gym, or in the mornings I only burn 100 in about 17 minutes. So quite a large difference. The high intensity intervals will use the ATP PC system and the anaerobic lactate system. So with both of these, you can see I've defined which ones they are using. That doesn't mean they are just using those energy systems. It means that they are the predominant ones. Every exercise you do will use every energy system, but there's just ones that are utilised a lot more. So the reason we use the ATP PC system and the anaerobic lactate system is because it's a very short amount of time that we're doing it, so our body needs fast energy. To break down fat takes a little while. You need the oxygen to get to the muscles, and you need that process to start, and this normally takes sort of 3 to 4 minutes. But before that, we're going to be using the other system. So the ATP PC system is normally up to around 30 seconds. We then go to the anaerobic lactate system and then the aerobic system, and these are all interchanging depending on what you're doing. So with the high intensity intervals, in your big bursts you're using your ATP PC system, and then to recover you use your anaerobic lactate system and your aerobic energy system. So that's because our body needs to replenish the ATP, so that if we do need to have another big burst, we've got the stores there. And the aerobic system will give us between 34 and 36 ATP molecules. The ATP PC system will only give us 1, so you can see it's only ticking itself over. And the anaerobic lactate system, I believe, gives us around 20 or so. I'll have to check that. But you can see as we get further down, the longer the reactions take, the more energy we get from them. So the negatives of high intensity interval training: excess stress on the joints. Again, like I said, I find the treadmill cross trainer, if I'm doing high intensity work on them, they tend to aggravate my knees a little bit, and it's very mentally demanding. Same with heavy weights. If you find the first set hard, you're going to find the next set hard if you thought that it was really heavy. So if you sprint as fast as you can and then you have a minute rest and you don't feel ready to go, it's going to be very hard to then do that again. And some people don't like that, so they opt for the easier low intensity training. So there's different approaches to it, but I feel that high intensity interval training, if you can do it all the time, will be more beneficial for you. You're going to burn more calories while you're doing it, and you're going to burn more calories after you finish as well. It also stimulates muscle growth. So if you look at a sprinter versus an endurance athlete, and you can use runners, you can use cyclists, you can use shot putters, any of them, and take them against their counterparts where there's a longer duration exercise. You'll see the guys doing the longer duration tend to be a lot skinnier, and the guys that do the short ones tend to be a bit bulkier. So hopefully this helped, guys. If there's anything that you think I've missed out, comment below, and subscribe, rate, and drop me a comment. Thanks very much.